Hello everyone. Welcome back to Native Flow English. I'm Sarah, and I'm so happy you're here with me. Today I want to speak directly to the part of you that's tired of trying, and still not feeling confident in English. Maybe you've spent years studying. Maybe you even paid for classes, watched videos, read books, downloaded every app you could find. And still, when someone looks at you and speaks English fast, you panic. You smile politely. You nod like you understand. But inside, your heart is racing. Your brain is frozen. You feel small. Does this sound like you? If it does, I want to tell you one thing, something that could change everything. It's not your fault. No one ever taught you the right way to learn a language. They only taught you how to study it. Let me confess something. Even though I'm a native English speaker, I failed at learning languages too. When I moved to France, I thought I could speak French. I had studied it for years. I even got good grades. But when I actually tried to live in French, I froze. I didn't know how to respond, and I felt stupid. I remember sitting on a bus in Paris hearing people talk and realizing I couldn't catch a single full sentence. Not because I didn't know the words, but because my brain didn't know how to hear them in real speed. Sound familiar? In this video, I'm going to show you why your brain forgets English words so quickly, why listening to English feels like chasing a train that already left the station, why speaking makes you nervous even when you know the words. And most importantly, I'll show you what actually works. A simple, natural system that I've used with over 10,000 students worldwide. From Tokyo to Berlin, from Cairo to California. This is the system that helps you not just remember English, but speak it with joy. But wait, before we begin, I want you to do something powerful. Something that will help your brain focus and your heart open. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're walking through an airport. Someone asks you for help in English. And this time, you answer naturally, confidently, with ease, and a little smile. Now tell me, wouldn't that feel amazing? That's the future I want for you. So don't click away. Don't tell yourself you'll come back later. Because that small moment of delay, that's how people stay stuck for years. So grab a pen. Take notes if you can. Speak out loud with me. Because this is not just another English lesson. This is a conversation between you and the fluent version of you that's waiting to come alive. Ready? Let's begin. Let me take you back to a classroom in London, 2007. I was teaching a group of international students, brilliant people, engineers, lawyers, even a neurologist from Brazil. They all had one thing in common. They knew English. They passed every grammar test. They memorized over 2,000 vocabulary words. And yet they couldn't speak. Whenever I asked a question like, "What did you do last weekend?" Silence. Or worse, eyes wide, hearts pounding, nervous giggles. Then they would slowly build a sentence in their heads like a math problem. Why? Because they had been taught a lie. A beautiful, logical, dangerous lie. If you study enough grammar and memorize enough words, you will become fluent. It sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But here's the truth. Fluency is not built through logic. It's built through rhythm, emotion, connection, and repetition. Kachian Hakveen Vasuvio Nentuk. Let me tell you about Maria, a doctor from Spain. She came to me with perfect grammar, but zero confidence. She said something I'll never forget. "I can write a full report in English, but I can't order tea without sweating." It broke my heart. So I told her to stop. Stop memorizing. Stop translating. Stop trying to understand English and start trying to feel it. I gave her a phrase. That's not what I meant. We practiced it every day like an actor. Like music. With tone. With speed. With feeling. After 1 week, she used that exact phrase naturally in a real conversation for the first time ever. She almost cried. Not because she used perfect grammar, but because for the first time her English felt like hers. Let me explain what's really happening in your brain. When you study grammar, you activate the thinking center of your brain. But when you speak a language fluently, you rely on the motor memory plus emotional memory plus auditory pattern center. Which means, you're trying to speak using the part of your brain made for writing essays. You're trying to understand native English through words. Not sounds, not melody. That's why you freeze. That's why you understand textbook English, but get lost in real conversations. Let me ask you, when was the last time you heard a native speaker say, I am going to the store. I will buy some milk. Probably never. They say, I'm gonna grab some milk. Big difference, right? But here's the key. If you don't train your ear to hear real English, your brain will always feel confused, no matter how much you study. So we're going to change that. In the next section, I'll teach you how native English actually sounds in real life, how to train your brain to decode fast English, and how you can do it in just 10 minutes a day, even while cooking or commuting. But before we get there, I want you to write this down. Really take a note. Fluency is not about knowing more. It's about training better. Let me say that again. Fluency is not about knowing more. It's about training better. This mindset shift alone has changed the lives of thousands of my students. And it starts with this one idea. Learn less. Repeat more. Feel everything. So if you've been stuck in that old cycle, study, forget, repeat, feel frustrated, let's break it now. Comment below right now. I choose to train, not just study. Write it. Own it. Because this is the moment where your English journey truly changes. Are you ready to hear English like a native? Let's dive into the next section, where I'll train your ears to stop guessing and start understanding. I remember one night, a student named Ibrahim told me something that still rings in my head. He said, I feel like I'm chasing English. Every time I get close, the sentence disappears. Have you ever felt that way? You listen to a movie, you try a podcast, you even try subtitles. But the moment someone speaks fast, it's like your brain just gives up. And here's why. Most English learners try to understand English by focusing on every single word. They try to catch each sound, each syllable, like catching falling leaves in the wind. But that's not how native speakers do it. We don't hear every word. We hear chunks. We hear rhythm. We hear emotion. We hear the sentence like music, not like a spelling test. Let me show you what I mean. Listen to this phrase. Did you eat yet? Now hear how a native speaker says it. Cheek yet. 3 words became one soft sound. And if you don't train your ear to expect that, you'll miss it every time, even if you know the vocabulary. So let's retrain your ear, right here, right now. We're going to play a little game. I'll say a sentence fast. You'll guess what it means. Then I'll slow it down. Then you'll repeat. You ready? Here's the first one. Wanna grab lunch? What do you think that means? Let's break it. Wanna equals want to. Grab equals get. Lunch equals well lunch. Put it together. Do you want to get lunch? Say it with me. Say it naturally. Not perfect. Just real. Let's do another. What ya up to? One more time fast. Whatcha up to? You hear that softness? That casual swing? It means, what are you up to? Or more clearly, what are you doing? Now repeat it with me 3 times. Each time faster and more relaxed. That's how native speakers train. Not by memorizing, by mimicking, by feeling the sound. Language is sound, not theory, not spelling, not grammar charts. And here's the big secret I want you to remember. You don't need to understand 100% of what you hear. In fact, native speakers rarely understand every word. We listen for meaning. We guess from context. We respond with emotion. So stop chasing every syllable. Start listening for flow, energy, and the shape of the sentence. Here's how you can practice this every day. Take one short video clip. 10 seconds is enough. Watch it once without subtitles. Then watch it again and write what you hear. Then check with subtitles. Then, and this is important, close your eyes and repeat the sounds, not the words. Not correct words. Just sounds. It'll feel weird at first, like singing a song in a foreign language. But over time, your brain will tune into English like adjusting a radio. And you'll stop saying, "Can you repeat that?" You'll start smiling and replying naturally. One of my students in Tokyo, she was 58 when she started doing this. After 2 months, she told me, "For the first time, I understand Netflix without needing the subtitles." She didn't memorize more vocabulary. She trained her ears. And that changed everything. If you've ever felt like English is too fast for you, I promise it's not. Your ears just haven't been trained yet. But now they will be. Say it with me. I'm not slow. My ears are waking up. And they are. Right here. Right now. Let's keep going. Because in the next part, we're going to bring your mouth into the conversation. You've trained your ears. Now it's time to train your speaking muscles to move like a native. This is where everything starts to click. Are you ready? Let's go. Let's be honest. Most people who learn English speak like they're reading from a textbook. Flat, careful, safe. But native speakers? We speak like we're dancing. English is music. It's not just about the words you say. It's about how you say them. Let me prove it. Say this sentence slowly, carefully. I didn't say he stole the money. Now say it again. But this time emphasize one word each time and feel how the meaning changes. I didn't say he stole the money. 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 Same sentence. 7 different meanings. That's the power of rhythm, of tone, of emotion. And this is where most learners get stuck. They're focused on the correct words, but they forget to bring the words to life. So let's fix that. From now on, I want you to think of yourself not as a language learner, but as a performer, an actor, a storyteller, a speaker with color in your voice. Say this next sentence with me slowly. I can't believe he said that. Now say it again like you're angry. Now surprised. Now laughing. Feel the muscles in your face. The change in your breathing. The way your voice rises and falls like a wave. This is what native speakers do unconsciously every single day. But here's the good news. You can train it. Just like music. Just like acting. Let's do one more. I say it first. Then you copy. That's not what I meant. Say it like you're defending yourself. Now like you're hurt. Now like you're teasing a friend. Each time the words stay the same, but the feeling creates the meaning. This is what we call intonation, the melody of your sentence. And when your intonation is right, people understand you better, even if your grammar isn't perfect. I've had students with strong accents and weak grammar speak so naturally, so emotionally, that native speakers didn't even notice the mistakes. Why? Because they spoke with rhythm, with tone, with life. So here's your daily practice. Every day take one short sentence. Say it 10 times, each time with a different emotion. Record yourself. Listen back. Feel the music in your own voice. It's not about being perfect. It's about being human in English. Because real conversation isn't about perfect sentences. It's about connection, timing, energy, and yes, courage. One of my students in Brazil, Lucas, was terrified of speaking English. He would freeze every time. Until we did this practice. 3 weeks later, he sent me a video of him telling a story in English, with expression, laughter, gestures. It wasn't perfect. It was alive. And that's what I want for you. So say this with me out loud. I don't want to sound perfect. I want to sound real. And that's what we'll keep building, one voice, one rhythm, one real sentence at a time. Now that we've trained your ears and your voice, it's time to go deeper. Because there's one thing that still holds most learners back, and it's not grammar. It's not vocabulary. It's fear. And that's exactly what we're going to face next. Let's talk about the real psychology behind speaking, and how to finally break through it. Let me ask you something I've asked thousands of students before. When you try to speak English and someone's looking at you, what do you feel? Is it excitement? Or is it fear? If you're like most learners, your answer is simple. I'm afraid. Afraid of saying it wrong. Afraid of looking stupid. Afraid of being judged. Let me tell you something you need to hear. That fear is more dangerous than any grammar mistake. I've worked with brilliant people, doctors, pilots, entrepreneurs, who could hold a conversation in their own language with complete confidence. But the moment they had to speak English, they collapsed. Not because they didn't know the words, but because they didn't feel safe. And I understand it deeply. When I first tried speaking Japanese, I was terrified. I remember ordering coffee in Tokyo, practicing my sentence in my head 10 times, and still when the barista looked at me, I panicked. My tongue froze. My brain turned off. I felt like a child. Not because I didn't prepare, I had, but because deep down I didn't give myself permission to sound like a beginner. And that, my friend, is the real problem. It's not that you're bad at English. It's that you're too hard on yourself. You expect native speaker confidence with beginner-level exposure. You expect to sound natural, without ever allowing yourself to sound awkward first. But here's the truth. Every fluent speaker you admire, including me, went through that messy, clumsy, embarrassing stage. Every single one. You can't skip it, but you can change how you feel about it. So let's do that right now. Close your eyes. Think of the last time you were afraid to speak English. Maybe you stayed silent in a meeting. Maybe you avoided a conversation with a tourist. Maybe you smiled and nodded, pretending to understand. Now take a deep breath and tell yourself this out loud. That version of me was trying. That version of me was brave. Because they were. You were. And now you're stronger than before because you're here listening, learning, and healing that fear. Let me teach you a technique I use with students who are afraid to speak. It's called the shadow of the mistake exercise. Here's how it works. You speak a sentence in English out loud. You immediately say, "That wasn't perfect, but it was real." Then you smile. On purpose. Why? because we need to rewire your brain's response to making mistakes. If your brain always connects speaking English with shame, you'll never become fluent. But if you connect it with courage, with progress, with self-kindness, you'll finally let go of the fear that's holding you back. I once had a student named Elena from Ukraine. She was brilliant, but she never spoke in class. One day I asked her why. She said, "Because every time I speak English, I feel like I lose 20 IQ points." That broke my heart. So we started doing imperfect practice every day. She would speak. I would clap. No correction. No grammar notes. Just celebration of effort. And one day, in the middle of class, she interrupted me to tell a joke in English. Not perfect, but full of life. Everyone laughed. And in that moment, her fear died, because she killed it with action. And you can too. From now on, I want you to start seeing every mistake as a small victory. Because every time you speak and survive, your brain learns. This is safe. This is okay. I can do this. So here's your challenge for today. Backhand index pointing right, record yourself saying 5 sentences in English, without stopping, without editing. Then listen back. Smile. And say out loud, "It's not perfect. It's practice. And I'm proud of it." Then comment below and tell me, "I spoke today even though I was scared." Say it. Own it. Share it. Because the moment you do, you become one step closer to real fluency, not in your mouth but in your mind. You've trained your ears. You've opened your voice. You've faced your fear. Now it's time to create real memory, deep, emotional memory that helps you remember English words and phrases for life. And that's exactly what we'll do next. Let's go there together. Let me ask you something. How many English words have you studied in your life? Hundreds? Thousands? Now let me ask a harder question. How many of them can you actually use right now in a real conversation? That's the problem, isn't it? We read words. We write them. We repeat them. But when the moment comes to speak, they disappear. Like smoke. And again, it's not your fault. It's your brain doing its job. Your brain was not designed to remember disconnected information. It was designed to remember emotion, story, experience, and survival. Think about it. You probably still remember the name of your first teacher, or the smell of your grandmother's kitchen, or the sound of a song you loved as a child. Not because you repeated them, but because they touched something inside you. This is the key to vocabulary that stays with you. Not just in your head, but in your life. So let's stop memorizing. Let's start anchoring. I call it emotional anchoring, and here's how it works. Instead of learning a word like regret from a dictionary, you attach it to a moment. Let's try it. Say the word with me. Regret. Now close your eyes. Picture a moment when you didn't say something you wish you had. Maybe you hurt someone. Maybe you missed a chance. Feel the weight of that silence. Feel the tightness in your chest. Say it again. Regret. Now write that word in a notebook. Not as a vocabulary item, but as a memory. That word now belongs to you. Not because it's in a list, but because it's in your story. Let's try another. The word is relieved. Say it. Now imagine waiting for a medical test result. You're nervous. You can't sleep. And finally it comes back. You're okay. Take a breath. Say it again. Relieved. This is how native speakers remember, not by drilling but by living. In my classes, I often ask students to build emotion maps for words. For example, instead of memorizing the word excited, I ask, When was the last time you were truly excited? What happened in your body? Who were you with? Then they say the word with that moment in mind, and suddenly it sticks. One of my students, Diego, once told me he kept forgetting the word awkward. So I asked him, "Tell me a time you felt awkward." He laughed. He told me about a date where he spilled water all over his pants. He never forgot the word again, because now it was his. Here's your practice. Every time you learn a new word, stop. Don't rush. Don't move on. Ask yourself, what does this word feel like? When have I felt this? Can I act it out? Can I say it with my face, my hands, my voice? Then write a one-sentence story using it. Not a perfect sentence. Just a personal one. Like, I was so embarrassed when I forgot her name. I felt confident when I gave my first speech in English. These are not just vocabulary. These are your English memories. And memory built on emotion is memory that lasts for life. Let me tell you a secret most textbooks won't admit. The goal is not to learn more words. The goal is to feel deeper with the words you already know. Because when a word becomes part of your story, you never forget it. So from now on, make this your rule. No emotion equals no learning. Yes emotion equals yes memory. Say it with me now. I learn with feeling. I remember with feeling. And that's how you turn passive vocabulary into real living English. So now that you've learned how to feel English, let's move on to the part most people skip. Speaking practice that actually sticks. In the next part, I'll show you how to repeat English the right way. Not like a parrot, but like a confident, natural speaker who remembers what they say. Let's dive in. Let me tell you a simple truth. If you want to speak English like a native, you have to repeat, but not like a robot, not like a parrot, and definitely not like a school test. You have to repeat like a child learning to walk, like a singer learning a new song, like a friend telling a good story for the 10th time, but with even more feeling. Most people get this wrong. They think repetition is boring, mechanical, pointless. But that's only because no one showed them how to do it right. Let me take you back to when you were a baby. You didn't learn language by reading. You didn't memorize flashcards. You listened. You copied. You played. You said things wrong 1,000 times and no one judged you. That's how you learned your first language. And it's how your brain still wants to learn now. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. We're going to take one sentence. A simple everyday sentence. I'm not sure what you mean. Now we'll repeat it. But each time we'll change the speed, the emotion, and the focus so your brain and your body absorb it completely. Ready? First say it slowly with me. I'm not sure what you mean. Now again a little faster. I'm not sure what you mean. Now say it like you're confused. Now say it like you're slightly annoyed. Now say it like you're being polite but firm. Each repetition is a layer. Each emotion is a wire connecting the phrase to your memory. Now let's build what I call a muscle loop. We take 5 phrases and say them in rhythm, back to back like a song. Here we go. I'm not sure what you mean. Could you say that again? I didn't catch that. Can you speak a little slower? I think I understand now. Let's go again, this time with your hands moving as you speak. Yes, move your body. It helps lock the rhythm into your nervous system. Again, this time like you're in a real conversation. You see, this kind of repetition doesn't just train your mouth. Trains your reaction, your timing, your instincts. After a few days of this kind of repetition, something magical happens. You stop translating in your head. You stop freezing when someone talks to you. The words just come, because now they live in your body, not just in your memory. I had a student named Riko from Japan. She was shy, soft-spoken, and always scared of speaking. So I gave her 5 phrases to repeat every day with emotion. 2 months later, she was giving customer service in English, confidently, clearly, without thinking. And she told me something beautiful. I don't remember when English became easy. It just started flowing. That's the goal. Not to remember the words, but to become the words. Here's how you can do this every day. I call it the Power 5 routine. Every morning, choose 5 phrases you want to master. Repeat each one 10 times. Slow, fast, emotional, relaxed. Use your body. Use your face. Smile. Frown. React. Say the 5 phrases back to back like a rhythm. To the end say, "These words are now mine." It only takes 10 minutes. But over time, those minutes change how you sound, how you feel, how you connect. And here's the most important part. You don't need 1,000 phrases. You need 50 that live in your bones. Because language isn't about knowing everything. It's about being able to say what matters when it matters. So repeat with me now. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is my power. You're doing this. You're becoming fluent. Not by force, but by rhythm, joy, and movement. And now that you know how to train your voice like a native, it's time for the most important part of all. Building a simple daily routine that keeps you improving. Even when life gets busy. Let's create your 10-minute English flow. Let's go. Most people think you need hours a day to become fluent in English. And yes, more time can help. But it's not the most important thing. The truth is, what matters most is not how long you study, but how often and how deeply you engage. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush your teeth once a week for 2 hours. You brush for 2 minutes every day. And that keeps your mouth healthy for life. It's the same with English. Small, smart, daily actions beat long, random practice every time. So let me show you something I call the Daily 10. It's a 10-minute English routine that I designed for busy people. Students, parents, workers, retirees, anyone who wants to keep improving without stress. Just 10 minutes a day. No books. No pressure. Just flow. Here's how it works. Minute 1 to 3, listening warm-up. Start your session with real English audio, podcast, a short video, a movie scene, something you enjoy. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. The goal is to wake up your ears, to get your brain swimming in English sound, to remind yourself, this is the language I'm learning to love. Even 3 minutes of focused listening can completely change your mindset. Minute 4 to 6, shadow practice. Now we move to voice. Play 1 sentence from what you heard. Pause. Repeat it with the same speed, the same tone, the same music. This is called shadowing, and it's one of the most powerful techniques for improving pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency. You're not just copying words. You're mimicking life. One of my students in Argentina, Daniel, used to speak slowly and robotically. After 1 month of shadowing a BBC newscaster every morning for 2 minutes, his boss thought he had hired a coach. But it wasn't coaching. It was habit. Minute 7 to 8. Free speaking or journaling. Now it's your turn to speak from you. No script. No pressure. Talk out loud about your day. Today I feel tired, but also proud because I'm learning. Or describe your surroundings. It's a sunny day. I hear the birds outside. I'm drinking tea. If speaking aloud is impossible, write it in a notebook. But speak when you can, even in a whisper. This moment is for your English voice, not someone else's. This is where the language becomes yours. Minute 9 to 10. Emotional review. Finally, take one word or phrase from today and make it emotional. Remember the emotional anchoring method? Take that phrase and close your eyes. Feel it. Act it. Put it in a memory. For example, let's say your word was grateful. Say it out loud. Grateful. Now picture someone you love. A moment you felt deeply thankful. Say it again slower. With meaning. This final step locks the language into your long-term memory. That's it. Just 10 minutes. But here's the magic. If you do this every day, you'll create a flow in your brain. You'll stop fighting English. You'll start living in it. It's like watering a plant. 1 cup a day. And the roots grow deep. I had a student in Italy named Francesca. She was a mother of 3 working full-time. She said, "I don't have time." So I gave her the daily 10. She did it in the car, while cooking, even in the bathroom. 6 weeks later, she was having phone calls in English with no notes. Not because she studied more, because she practiced smart, small, and consistently. So if you've ever said, "I want to improve, but I don't have time," you do. You have 10 minutes. And starting tomorrow, you'll know exactly what to do with them. So write this down now, even better, say it out loud. Every day, just 10 minutes. I listen, I speak, I feel. And I grow. Because you are growing. You've come so far. Now let's bring everything together. In this final section, I'll help you reconnect with the reason you started this journey. Your why. Your dream. And how to finally let English be a joy, not a struggle. Let's go there together. Take a deep breath. Let's slow everything down now, because you've come a long way in this video. You've listened. You've spoken. You've felt. You've laughed. Maybe even cried. But now I want to take you back. Back to the beginning of your English journey. Do you remember why you started? Maybe it was for a job. Maybe it was to travel. Maybe it was to connect with someone you love. Maybe it was just a quiet dream, to speak freely, to feel powerful, to belong. And somewhere along the way, maybe you forgot that. Maybe English became a burden, a reminder of what you couldn't do, a mirror that made you feel small. And if that's you, I want to tell you something. You didn't fail. You didn't fall behind. You just got tired. And that's okay. Because today you came back. You came back to the dream, to the voice inside you that still wants to grow, to the quiet belief that yes, even now, you can still become fluent. Let me tell you something I tell my students all the time. Fluency is not about being perfect. It's about staying in the game. Every time you try again, you win. Every time you speak, even if your voice shakes, you win. Every time you don't give up, you win. So now I want to invite you to do something very personal. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. And whisper just to yourself, I am still learning. I am still growing. I am still worthy of speaking beautifully. Because you are. Your age doesn't matter. Your accent doesn't matter. Your mistakes don't matter. What matters is that you're still here, still showing up, still reaching for that version of yourself who can speak clearly, freely, confidently, and with joy. I once had a student named Min from Vietnam. He was 68 years old when he joined my class. He said to me on the first day, "Is it too late for me to sound natural?" And I said, "It's only too late if you stop speaking." He laughed. And 6 months later, he gave a wedding speech in English for his daughter. Not perfect, but real, powerful, honest. And when he finished, he told me, "I didn't feel like I was speaking English. I felt like I was speaking me." That's the goal. Not to copy someone else's language, but to use English as a bridge, to speak your truth. So let's come back to your why. What is English really about for you? Freedom, connection, confidence, healing. Whatever it is, write it down now. Say it out loud, or leave it in the comments below. I'll read it. Promise. This is more than just a language. It's your voice, your story, and it deserves to be heard. Say it with me one last time. I am not too late. I am not behind. I am ready to speak with courage and heart. And you are. So here we are. The end of this video, but maybe the beginning of something much more important. Not just better grammar, not just more vocabulary, but the beginning of a relationship between you and your English voice. A voice that's not perfect but powerful. A voice that's not fluent yet but full of life. A voice that is yours. You've done something amazing today. You didn't just watch a video. You listened. You spoke. You remembered. You felt. You showed up for yourself. And that's the kind of effort most people never give. But you did. Now I have just one final message for you. And it's simple. Keep going. Even when progress feels slow. Even when your accent feels too strong. Even when your brain says, "Why am I still making mistakes?" Keep going. Because one day, without even realizing it, you'll be in the middle of a conversation, laughing, explaining, feeling free, and suddenly you'll stop and think, "Wait, I just spoke all of that in English, and it felt easy." That day is coming, really is, and everything you did today brought you closer. So what now? Here's what I'd love for you to do next. First, take 30 seconds to reflect. What was the most powerful thing you heard in this video? Write it down. Say it aloud. Anchor it in your heart. Second, leave a comment below. I'm ready to speak English with joy. Not because you have to, but because saying it makes it more real. Third, subscribe to this channel, Native Flow English. If you haven't already, this is your space. Your safe, friendly, human space to grow every single week. And finally, share this video with one friend who's struggling with English. One person who needs a gentle voice, a kind push, a little light. Be the reason they believe in themselves again. Because language is never just about words. It's about people and the way we help each other move forward. You've spent 80 minutes with me, and I'm so honored you did. But I don't want this to be the end. Let it be the first of many steps together. So here's your final affirmation, one last time from your heart. I have everything I need to speak. I don't wait for perfection. I speak because I'm human, and English is my new voice. See you soon. And until then, speak bravely, love deeply, and grow freely. This is Native Flow English, and your journey has only just begun.